Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Curt Premium hanging style bike rack right here on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner. So if you have a 4Runner, you're ready for adventure. But what if you have your 4Runner filled up with your friends or your family? You still need something to carry your bike. So this is the Curt Premium bike rack. It is made especially for families because of the way it's designed. So you have your two cradles where they're sitting a little bit further out, perfect for your adult bicycles. But then you also have this special two cradles over here on the inside. If you have the 5 version, there's 3 cradles and they're closer together to make it easier to load and unload your smaller bikes as well. So this has a weight capacity of 180 pounds for the 4 bike version and 225 pounds for the 5 bike version, which is actually pretty impressive because usually a hanging style bike rack only has a weight capacity of 35 pounds per bike. This has a capacity of 45 per bike. Now, one thing to note is look how tall our bike rack is. That's because this is a 4Runner and it sits a little bit higher up than your other vehicles. So you have to make sure that either you're taller than me or you're able to lift your bikes up and through this bike rack. So let's take a look at the way our bike is mounted to this bike rack. We have 1, 2, 3 mounting points. And that third mounting point is actually our anti-sway cradle. So look at, if we have this mounted, this is how much sway we have. Now when you take this strap off, you do have to pull it a little bit. This is gonna be the first thing you take off when you take the bike off. Notice how much more sway we have without that anti-sway. Now let's take the other 2 straps off. So 1, 2, and here's our third. With all those released, we can now take our bike off. So just lift that up and bring it through. And with the bike off, we now get to take a closer look at the other features, especially our cradles. So I do like how the Curt Premium has these cradles which can be rotated to accommodate your bikes of different shapes and different sizes. It's up to you to find the best fit for you. So these also have 3 rubber straps per bike, so you can use them on diagonally or straight across the frame of your bike. Since they are rubber straps, you kind of have to put a little bit of force just to get them in and out of the tabs. But I like that too because then I know for sure that I have a tight fit around my frame. Now, whenever you have a bike rack on your vehicle, there is going to be some length added, especially if you have multiple bikes. So we'll take some measurements just to see how much length is added to the back of our 4Runner. So measuring from our bumper to the furthest point, which are our nice red reflectors right over here, we have a length added of about 40¼ inches. Now, if you do have the 5 bike version, that's going to add about 5 inches to that total. But what if you need to park into your garage? Your 4Runner is already a larger vehicle and you don't have enough space for your bikes or your bike rack. What you can do is you can fold this down. So see how our arms are up right now? We can bring those arms down by taking this clip off and then pulling out this pin. And just like that, you can swing this down and secure it with a clip-in pin you just took out. Now let's take some measurements with our arms folded down. So measuring from where we measured earlier, which was our bumper, the furthest point is now right where that shank is, and it now sits at 15 inches of length added to the back of your vehicle. So whenever you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot, it's nice to know you have different options when it comes to clearance. Now you can't really open your hatch with our bike rack on unless you tilt it away. But since you do have a 4Runner, that's not as big of an issue for you because if you really needed access to your trunk, you could just lower your windows right over here in the back. But if you need full access to your hatch, we can tilt this away. To do so is a little bit of a process, but I'll guide you through it. First, you need to remove this clip right there, and that clip is holding this pin in. But you can't remove that pin unless you loosen this knob. And then that pin comes out, and then you lift this lever, and then you drop your bike rack down to a tilt, and now you can open up your door. So it's really nice to see that we have plenty of clearance between our hatch door and our bike rack. One thing to note though is you can only tilt this away with the bikes off. So it's still gonna take some time if your bikes are on to remove those before you can access your hatch. Just something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So this has a 2-inch shank which fits into the 2-inch hitch receiver here on our RAV4. It also has an anti-rattle bolt and a clip, so not really a lock. I do recommend maybe adding a lock if you want to secure both your bike rack. You also have a kind of a anchor point for a cable lock if you also want to secure your bikes. You do need your own tool to tighten this down though, so I recommend picking up a 3/4 socket or a 3/4 wrench to tighten this down. But once you have your anti-rattle bolt tightened down, it secures the bike rack to your hitch. And let's do a little shake test. Shaking from our hitch. Notice how I'm mainly shaking the vehicle at this point. If you do see some movement, you might not have these levers in the back fully tightened down because that's holding your mast in. But that anti-rattle bolt is really nice because then it makes for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. Now with our bike rack looking like this, it's really easy to see how it is a bit more compact than if you had a 4-bike platform rack folded up against your vehicle. So let's see how it interacts with our 4Runner. It comes slightly over here with our rear window, but our taillights are very obviously still visible. Now our backup camera is slightly off-centered to the left on our 4Runner, so it peeks out right here between our arms of our bike rack. You'll still definitely see your bike rack in your backup camera, but you should also be able to see whatever is behind you. Now your license plate is slightly covered. It's still very visible from the back. Definitely more visible than if you had a platform rack folded up, but still something to think about just in case. So my final thoughts about this bike rack is I really am a fan of the Curt Premium when it comes to affordability and family friendly. Because of this design, I've definitely experienced having where you have 2 arms going down, and it's a struggle to put your smaller kids' bikes in there, or if you have alternate frame bikes or really weird frames, it's hard to load and unload those on your bike rack. For this one, no issue or less of an issue. So if you have your 4Runner fully loaded up, you have your friends, you have your family, you're all going for a bike ride, this might be a great option for you. Now, if it's just you riding and you want something a little bit more stable or secure, you might want to check out our platform rack options right here at etrailer. We have a bunch of great platform racks that might fit you in your adventures. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole, or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action. But that was a look right here at our Curt Premium bike rack on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.